Hi Sharpie, welcome to your daily health news. I'm just here in my studio and I'm recording via my brand new camera. It's on its debut. Full HD Panasonic singing and dancing camera that I'm going to be using for all my future videos. So there you go. Right, this module is all about food, nutrition. You are what you eat. I'm going to say that again because it is so important. You are what you eat. Get it? I'd heard this saying for years actually, before it actually hit me right there in my head and woke me up to say, literally, we are what we eat. And if we think about this, our bodies are made up of trillions and trillions of cells. Brain cells, eyes, muscles, bones, skin, nails, organs, you name it, it's all cells. We're walking, talking cells all joined together. Okay? And the health of each cell is dependent on what you are eating. You are what you eat, and that is creating your cells, your food. So what have you eaten over the last 24 hours that's creating your cells today? Take a moment to think about that. So, questions I'm going to cover in this module. Well, we're going to cover, well, let's face it, most people focus on what to eat when it comes to nutrition and follow all sorts of different diet plans, etc. Yet that is only part of it. It's a very important part, but it's only part of the whole picture that we all need to understand. So I'm going to be covering some other subjects. So we're going to focus firstly on why we eat, really, really key one. Secondly, how to eat. Sounds simple, but it's really, really key, and many people aren't doing it properly. When to eat, where to eat, and also lastly, what to eat. Okay? So you're with me. We're going to do a few modules. This is going to be a longer than normal module, which is why we're going to break it up into various different parts. So let me cover and start off at the top. Why do we eat? Let's take a moment to think about that. Why do we eat? Well, fundamentally, we eat for energy and to stay alive. Okay? So remember, in the past, food was very scarce, and we really had to spend a lot of time and energy and effort getting our food, whether that be catching our food, picking our food, or cultivating and farming our food. So think about how much more energy and calorie expenditure was done and effort, and how much we used our bodies just to get food. And how times have changed. We have now got food readily available everywhere. We can get in a car, go to a shopping centre or a supermarket, walk in the supermarket, go up and down a few aisles and pick the food, and then sit back in our car and go and get it. It's done within an hour, if we're lucky. Or we can even get a step further, and that is have someone deliver it to our house. So we sit on a laptop, choose our food, and then the food gets delivered to our house. And then what happens when they knock the door? Would you like us to bring it in for you? And they'll bring it into your kitchen. So all you have to do is take it from the bag and put it into the cupboards or the fridge or freezer. How easy is that? Less energy expenditure on just getting our food. Now, if you think about this as well, we can walk up a high street in any town and there's food outlets and cafes, etc., all enticing us to come and buy their food. Come and buy our food, eat more food, supersize this, supersize that. There are businesses that are wanting us to eat more because it means more profits for them. Okay? So, food is so easily accessible and times have hugely changed. So, it would be fine if we only ate when we were hungry or it was a mealtime. However, many people aren't doing. Beware, by the way, sugar addiction, which we're going to cover later, can cause us to be more hungry than we actually should be. So, big problem is, many people are overeating because of an emotion. So, let's think about some of those emotions. Some people are eating because they're bored. It fills a gap in there. They don't know what to do with themselves. I'm bored. I'm going to fill that gap with food. Some people eat because they're stressed. When we're stressed or if we've had poor sleep, we tend to crave more energy, we need more energy, and we turn to the quick stuff for energy, which is mostly in the form of sugar or caffeine for those people who are stressed and tired and poor sleep. Sometimes people eat because they're unhappy, and they turn to food to make them happy again, particularly the food that tastes good and gives them that short moment high. Some people eat because they're happy. They celebrate with food. Oh, today's a good day, have a slice of cake. Or, think about it, birthdays is our celebration and most people have cakes. But then people will try and find something to celebrate just so they can have the cake. Some people eat because they're tired, as I mentioned earlier. Some people because it's just a habit. It's what they do every time at 10:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Or every time they fill petrol in the car. They get lured by all the chocolate bars that are there, right by while you're standing and doing nothing and waiting at the till. And it's just a habit that happens all the time. Every Friday night they have a takeaway. It's just a habit. It's just what they do. So lots and lots of reasons. Now this could be dangerous if people are eating because of an emotion. Because if people aren't conscious of it and aware of it, then it can lead to ill health and it can lead to an empty bank balance. People can be spending so much money on food based on an emotion. People can be on the road to diabetes because of an emotional reason why they have sugar, for example. So it's really important to address why. What I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself right now, why do you eat? Start asking yourself each time you eat something, whether it be a snack, a meal, whatever it is, ask yourself why. Why am I having this right now? Is it because you're hungry and it's a meal time, or is it for one of those emotions? Be true to yourself, be real to yourself. What I recommend you do actually is I'm going to get you to fill out a food diary. So when you finish this module, I want you to fill out the food diary that's in the workbook, and I want you to write down all of everything that you eat, the time you have, the day you have, as much detail about what you're eating. And one of the questions in that food diary when you're having something is why? Why are you having it? When you fill out that food diary and you see the emotion, you see what you're having, you make the connections of times of day, etc., and the habits, etc., you'll really start to see right in front of you what's going on. And you'll learn a lot just by doing that yourself. So make sure you commit to doing that. Really important if you want to be successful in improving your well-being. So the other reason, there's one more reason that I wanted to mention about why we eat. And actually, some people can actually be overeating, and the reason why they're eating is actually because their body is lacking in nutrition. So if the body is lacking in nutrition, the body is going to want to search for the nutrition it needs to perform every day. So if people are lacking in B vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D, maybe some of the essential fats, or maybe it's some of the minerals like chromium or magnesium, if the body hasn't got what it needs, do you think it's going to want to search for these things? And then many people can be eating foods that don't contain these vitamins, minerals and nutrients in. And if they don't contain them in, they're still searching for them. So they still eat more to find those nutrients. And they're not satisfied. They're still feeling hungry. When you give your body the nutrition it needs, hunger can be much more under control. Beware of that. There's a very good reason why we need a good multivitamin, as well as food that has nutrition in it. Local, fresh, preferably organic food, real food, not processed, manufactured, cardboard, boxed up food, real food. Okay? So, once we've identified why we eat, well, if we're bored, start doing something else to do. Find something else to do if you're bored. Something interesting, something inspiring, something that moves you towards your goals in life. Stop using food for being bored. Find something else to do. If you're stressed, rather than turn to food to give you more energy, do more stuff that relaxes you. Then you won't feel as stressed, and then you won't get the emotion that triggers your eating. or drinking as it can be. By the way, drinking half a bottle of wine or three bottles of beer in an evening isn't the right way to relax. If we're using alcohol to relax us, it's a very dangerous thing when it comes to health. If you're having alcohol because you really enjoy that glass and you want that and it feels good, and you know it's part of a healthy regime, no problem. But if it's because it relaxes you that you're having it, think of using something else to relax you, because there's lots of excess sugar and calories in alcohol. If you're unhappy, do something that makes you happy. Don't use food to make you happy. And here's something I want you to start to do. One thing you do, try this. When you're about to have something, just say to yourself, stop. And ask yourself, am I hungry? And then only eat if you're hungry, or if it's a meal time, scheduled meal in. Start trying that. Promise? Sharpie, do you promise? Okay, next up, how to eat. Where does digestion start? So think about this, how to eat. How many times do we hear in diet plans how to eat? It just doesn't happen. Where does digestion start? It starts in the mouth. Yeah? It starts when we chew our food. In fact, some people take it a next step and say it starts when we smell food. In fact, just smelling food can be enough to get saliva going in our mouth, and that's when the digestion process starts. In our saliva, we know there's enzymes, and it's the enzymes that help to break down and digest food. So smelling food and chewing food creates saliva. We all know that. So it's those enzymes that help to break down the food. So we need that saliva to happen. So we need to make sure we're chewing our food properly, connecting with the food, the textures, the taste, the flavours. So how many times do we chew a food? I get all sorts of answers to this when people kind of say, 10 times, 30 times. Depends on the food. Soup. So it's always good to chew food until it's liquefied. Yeah, until it's in smaller pieces that are easy to digest. Think about this. If food isn't chewed properly and we've not got the saliva, the food is going down in bigger parts and hasn't got the enzymes from the saliva to digest that and break that down, someone's going to have a really hard time with the digestion. What kind of sort of symptoms and problems would occur? Well, people will feel tired after eating because they're just not going to get the nutrition from the food as well. They're going to be bloated. They could actually get stomach pains, constipation, bad breath, and here's the big one. Many people overeat because they're eating too quickly. When food is chewed properly and then it's absorbed properly and there's spaces and it's given time to eat, we give ourselves time to eat, then there's time for the stomach to send signals to the brain to say, I'm actually full. I've got what I need from my meal. I've got the nutrients I need. I've got the food that I need. So I don't need any more. But some people eat so quickly, they're still hungry afterwards. And they turn to the cupboards and they go for more. Or they have seconds or even thirds, just because they've eaten too quickly. So remember, chew slowly. Remember to give your brain the time to say it's full. Pause in between your mouthfuls. Have conversations if you're with other people in between your mouthfuls. Give yourself the time to eat. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. When to eat. If you're skipping meals, you're causing yourself really big problems. We need 3 meals a day to help maintain our blood sugar level balance and to help have a healthy metabolism. Eating regularly is really important. Digesting our food regularly